squeeze you in if you so choose.
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
John Hunt, Commissioner Colbert. Last week you issued a memo stating all emails to the commissioner to go through you.
They're to go to a particular address.
That was Dan Colbert at Lincoln County Clerk or whatever it is.
Absolutely.
Was this decided on by a majority vote of the commission?
No, this was decided on by the person who reads all the emails anyway.
Okay, so
Before you pursue this, John, are you aware that neither of these gentlemen have a computer to read email?
well, I know I don't know, do you have a personal email address? Do
I
you
do
have,
at the house and I do at the store.
I know that the Troy Board of Aldermen use their home email addresses for communication, so there wouldn't be a reason why
No.
Commissioner Mays or Commissioner Bass couldn't, and also that it would have to be a vote of those two, and if there was a tie to make that decision, it would be your position to break that tie.
We have access to all the emails anyway through Dan.
Through Dan, so Dan's email address now becomes public record.
No, I'm saying that if he receives an email, we see it.
Right, but now in essence, Dan's email address becomes a public record.
Not necessarily.
Yes, it does. There's Supreme Court state law. Matt Blunt, you know, you're aware he had to surrender all his email address,
Right.
emails.
Yeah. You asked for all the emails last week,
Right.
and you got all of them but one, the one that had a password in it. What's your issue here?
My issue is we as citizens lose the ability to communicate with our specific northern or southern commissioner. And we are electing a northern and southern commissioner as a representative. And what this does is, in essence, makes everything that goes through the presiding commissioner a public record when an individual may want to email their own commissioner with specific concerns.
Okay, all I did was eliminate one. I'm handling 3 email accounts right now in the interest of streamlining the process. I'm working with one email address here. All I did was eliminate the commission@lcmo.us account. There's no need for me to use multiple accounts. When you sent something to that address, do you know where it went?
It went into a hole, I imagine.
No.
Well, it's getting rejected now.
Right. Do you know where it went before?
Where?
Right to my desk.
Okay.
Because I'm the only one that has a computer. Budget constraints don't allow us to
But
give everybody a computer.
if we email our northern or southern commissioner, have you instructed people to no longer email them individually?
No. I can't restrict
Okay.
you. And believe it or not, the telephone system in this building, if you want something to be truly confidential, I would recommend that you make a phone call.
Well, I just questioned that this was done in a manner in which was not a democratic process, where it was voted on by the commission. That's my concern here.
Right. Well, that would imply that we all shared in the responsibility of reading the commission at lcmo.us. We don't share in that responsibility. That all falls on my shoulders.
Okay.
Every email that came through there, if I didn't read it, it didn't get read. And when I took office, there were several hundred that hadn't been read or responded to.
Dan,
Bob.
do you feel that impacts the commission, that the other 2 commissioners are not capable or don't have a computer for themselves to see what, in any way, that maybe the commission should look into, and you had indicated that there wasn't money for everybody to have a computer, but I would like to see them both, if that could ever...
In a perfect world, yeah, we could go out and get them each a computer. And if we bought a cheap one, could we get it for $1,000 a piece, $500 a piece? But right now, they are getting the emails that are directed to them. And
So what you're saying is there's no impact?
there's no impact.
Okay.
Emails that are directed to the commission, I print off 3 copies and we all have a copy.
That's fine. I was just curious if maybe there would,
Because if, I'll get you just 1 second. If we all had access to the commission at lcmo.us account, how would we know who has read what?
yeah.
This,
Okay.
this is Maxwell's Pro.
Yeah.
Regarding lcmo.gov, that's just this commission. What kind of telephones what kind of cell phones do you have?
You mean what provider?
These two commission.
I
What kind of
just
cell
have
phone do you have?
Nextel. I don't have an iPhone or anything yet. Is
Okay.
that the question?
I know, I get everything from the Senate on my phone,
Right.
and I can peruse everything that's going on as they could on their phones, which is a heck of a lot cheaper than a computer. If they don't have personal computers at home, they can all, you
Yeah,
always
I
I
have.
do have personal.
Yeah, I have a,
Okay, but you
I
don't
don't
have
understand
access
what
to
it
that
is.
information on your personal computers, is that what you're saying? You just don't, because you had made a statement that they don't have computers.
Not in their office. Not in this
Yeah,
office.
they have them at home.
They have them at home, but not here.
No personal computers here at work. But they do have it at home, and they have phones where they could get the information.
They have smartphones.
That's what this is, smartphone.
Right.
yeah, I don't have a
No, I
smartphone.
don't. I have an AT&T cell.
That's what this is, it's an AT&T
Yeah,
smartphone.
I don't have access to my
I don't
computer.
Well, it's probably a possibility that they could get their own email box set up with the lcmo.us mail provider and have a user ID assigned so that they can go to any computer here and sign in under their user ID and check their email. They don't have to physically have their own computer.
Right.
That's where I was going.
Right. But at this juncture, I don't know that these guys, I think, if I'm speaking out of turn, tell me, but the 3 of us are comfortable with the arrangement that we have.
In the past, we used to get hard copies of almost everything. Or I guess we still could, or we have.
So, but the
or-
citizens and the other elected officials have to trust somebody that if you're trying to send an email conversation to all 3 commissioners and they're sending it to one individual's email box, that one individual is for certain going to copy that and share that with the other commissioners.
And he does.
And if they had their individual box, you have to trust that no one hacks in and steals it. You have to trust that they take the time to read it. I mean, we can take this conspiracy theory to multiple levels. If you want to make sure that he hears something, pick up the phone or walk directly into his office and tell him. John?
You're seeking remote access?
I don't follow.
The emails showed that you had you were requesting remote access?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
In here, there's an email to an individual that you were seeking remote access to the county system. Is that, are you requesting it from home or is it from
I
here?
don't know where you're getting that, John.
It was in your email thing here. As soon as I find the email.
I'm not requesting remote access to anything. Quite frankly, when I walk into my house,
Mhm.
I'm off the clock unless it's an emergency. I no more want to mess with this stuff when I go home than anything.
The only thing I object to is the single email address. I think that given the technology of today that we should be able to communicate with those that we elect. And being that my commissioner is the Northern Commissioner, I feel that it's necessary and pertinent for transparency that whatever I say would go to him and then whatever he would say would go to you in front of us. I don't think that we should have to you should have to filter everything that goes to our elected officials through your personal email box. And if it's a matter of $500, I mean, you can get laptops for these commissioners for $300 or $400 that would do that purpose. As when they come in the building, it's Wi-Fi'd, and then you have Wi-Fi in the building. And I think that given the potential for the lack of transparency, it's pertinent that we put these gentlemen up to individual emails.
Have you made any attempt to call him at all?
I don't know how to
Does
get
your
a hold of
telephone
him
work?
except to leave a message down here.
Okay, have you done that?
He hasn't had an email address.
Okay.
I've always had an email address, and you've never asked me for it.
Commission@lcmo.us has always been his address. Until today, you didn't know that it was just coming through my computer.
No, that I know that Matt Bass has an email address.
That's his personal.
Right. And that I know that if we email Dan Colbert and Matt Bass individually, it's public record then.
Right.
I mean, are you willing to make your email address at home public?
Yeah. I don't-
Okay,
it's
well
not
that would solve
necessary.
that would make the issue
I
of
don't think
all
it's
three.
necessary at all, but if you ask me.
What you're saying though is that we have an issue with access. You made a sunshine request and they were printed off within a couple hours. What do you want to see that we're not providing you,
Well,
John?
what I think the point you're missing is that when you email one person, there is a level of possible uncertainty that the commission as a whole might not receive all that information. And when you email an individual individually, as long as you're not getting a rejected response from the server, that there's a relative certainty that the individual is getting the email as an individual. We elect as individuals. We don't elect this group of three as a singular mass. We elect north, south, and presiding. So we should be able to communicate with the individual elected offices. And I think in simple terms, this creates beyond a doubt that the individuals are getting it. I'm not saying that you're not giving it to them, but I'm saying this rises to the burden of proof is not on me that they're getting them. The burden of proof falls on you that they're getting them under the Sunshine Law.
And as I've told you before, John, proof is not a burden to me because I can lay my head on the pillow at night and know that I'm telling the absolute truth. It's not a burden.
But under the letter of the law, it is a burden of proof falls on you that it is
It's not a
getting.
burden.
Okay.
You said what you wanted, and I gave you the emails.
So let's make the other two commissioners' email address accessible to the public, and that way all three can get the all three can get them as individuals. You, Commissioner Mays, and Commissioner Van.
Dan, if I may interject,
Yeah,
and
you have the floor.
I would suggest that the other two commissioners, if that's an issue, that you derive at an email address through the county. I certainly would not agree to or recommend to either of you to make your personal email address public record. So if you can talk to Kelly Hardcastle or whatever needs to happen, if that is a point of contention that each of you have, and then maybe it's Commission 1, Commission 2, Commission 3, I don't know, but that you each have your own subsequent email address, but it's through the county.
Right.
Rather than opening up your own
Personal
email.
Right,
That's
because
ridiculous.
my personal email is my family's personal email.
Correct,
It's not
sure.
uncommon for my sons to have friends over to be sending emails to their buddies.
Correct.
So, something that is strictly county related, they could read and say to their buddy, and their
Right.
buddy goes home and says, well, I read this, it's at Colbert's house, and it's just potential for disaster. But you have the floor.
Thank you. A couple of things on our child support grants. We've applied for some more money, and I just need some signatures. I actually missed a signature on this one, but I need signatures on that one as well.
We're applying